Skillbyte here, and 3 years ago I put out some videos where I thought I dealt with my mouse problem, and it looks like I did for what I did, but got a new one. They've moved just to a different area. So the other day I was backing the Miata out of the driveway, and my wife was coming out the back door there, and a mouse jumped from underneath the car, and it's like, wait a minute. Okay. And I had noticed I don't normally run the air on fresh. I usually put it on recirculate, pull a little more air from the footwell instead of out here where it gets, you know, the engine smells and stuff. But when I had it on fresh, I did notice there was a little bit of a smell, but it was still blowing well. And I just thought maybe the smell was still lingering from 3 years ago. Well, so anyway, so I popped the hood, and there was a little nest right here. Yeah, a little nest there, a little bit in there. And it's like, are you serious? So those are easy to pull out, but I started looking, and I come over here, and right here, well, here's a picture of it. So I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So I pull the seal here that goes here off, and I lift this up, and down in there, you can still see a little bit, it was full mouse nest. Over on this side, mouse nest. I mean, the inside cowl there, 30% at least was full of thick mouse nest. And so I vacuumed that out. But as you saw, and I'll show you over here on this side also, well, maybe I'll show you here in a minute. There is nastiness in the cowl. So I'm going to clean that up, and I'm going to show you how, and make sure there's nothing left in there, and we'll look down and make sure nothing got through the 1/2 inch hardware cloth, because there was a question as whether 1/2 inch would actually stop the mice or if you really needed 1/4 inch, and I only had 1/2 inch. So we'll see how we did with that. So if you didn't see my video where I showed how to take this out, it has these pins. This lays right here. What you got to do, reach under here, squeeze these two together. You may need a pair of needle nose, but they came out fairly easy. One disappeared, but it has not been an issue. Next, you gotta pull this off, and when I say pull, what I really mean is push. Don't pull it like that, you're actually tightening it. So you need to use your fingernail and slide that off like so. Okay, then you can kind of look under there. Like I said, it is nasty. Nasty in there. All right, next, you want to use a little flathead, maybe a pick, to pop this cover off. Try not to mess it up. It came off easy. Revealing Phillips head. There's one on each side. Using a Phillips head screwdriver, just remove the screw. It's just okay. It's just in the plastic. So this should pull forward. There we go. All right, you gonna work this time, GoPro? Come on, man. All right, so here it gets a little tricky because you can pull this out to a point, but then it hits on the back of your hood, so be careful with that. I went ahead and disconnected that. Now the question is, There it goes. I pushed this forward and that released it. Now, is it possible I don't want to have to pull the hood off. Okay, so that's slid over. Oh, here, let me do this. Okay. Might want to put some tape on the back of your hood there. Make sure right here, make sure that doesn't scratch. And so you can see what it looks like. You got this here, and that there. That'll be the fun one. Gotta get it up underneath there. Clean all that. Oh, what a mess. Okay, here's where we're at. There's a little bit of nest that got down through the 1/2 inch. But yeah, this is what I'm talking about, and that smells. And I got some stuck in there, and there's more down that way. Let's see, that one is going to be really hard to remove because the wiper's right there. Now, well, so is that one. So yeah, you got to remove both wipers to get down in there. Yeah, look at that. That's nasty. Go away, sweat bee. I know it's hot. I'm sweating. Go away. All right, so these you might be able to pull up with just your fingers or use a flathead. And I'm doing this because I want to go ahead and remove that little bit of nest that got in there that probably fell through. And yes, the 1/2 inch appears to have been sufficient to keep the mice out. They just built out here instead of down in there. Yeah, gotta love it. There you go. Mouse nest. Yuck. Other than that, that's clean. But I am going to open. You saw it was on recirculate. Oh, and you know how the recirculate works? This moves forward and closes it. That's recirculate. And then when you turn it to fresh, that opens. Now it is on fresh air, and you can see there's the screen, and there's just a little tiny bit of mouse nest that did fall through. Obviously they didn't build down there, and hopefully the screen kept them from going any deeper. So I'll have to get that out. But it did. Just got a pair of needle nose. Reached down in there and was able to pull that out easy. So I let my detail vacuum. I was going to get down in there with my detail vacuum, but I let the battery die. So instead, I'm going to vacuum and wash out what I can reach and go all in there. Let me show you. Go in there as far as I can with the vacuum, clean that out. And by the way, if you have a tree that drops stuff and it goes down in here or through here, that's where it ends up, under there. So it's not that hard to vacuum that out, and you do want to kind of vacuum that out. And if you're wondering how the mice get in, well, there's a hole right there. There's this slot, and these I can easily get in there. And I'm pretty sure There's probably some other ways in, because these mice get in there super easy. Those mice were getting in there when I still had those covered. So I don't know if they're getting in this way, maybe. They're definitely getting in somewhere. So you might be able to cover those up, but you're gonna have to do, but I suspect, I'm pretty sure there are holes down in here that allow them to get in. Yeah, see, look, there had some unbuilt. There's some more in there, it looks like. Anywho, good luck keeping the mice out of there. Oh yeah, there's a big old hole right here that drains down inside the fender. So that's great, so that it doesn't build up debris, hold moisture, and then rust, but it also allows mice to come back up there. So unless you're going to plug that, there's really no point in plugging these, and just make sure that's covered and check this often. I'm going to have to wet this and wipe it out. So if you're doing this in your driveway, you might be able to cover this. Make sure it's covered. You might put it on recirculate as well. Make sure no water gets in there. Then you can lightly run water out the drain hole. Help loosen that up. Now what I've done is I've got a cloth and I've been just dripping some water on there. Soften that up, and then I will wipe it. And the other side, my plan is to wet it down and then try to get a brush down in there to work it loose, and then vacuum that. That's what I'm going to try, because I'm not going to pull the windshield wipers off. You can, but I'm not going to do that at this time, at least. Serious detail in here. Oh. Make sure you don't have any cuts, anything on your hands if you do this like I'm doing it. Wet dry vac. Comes in handy sometimes. Yeah, that was just from that. That's nasty. Nasty, dirty. All right. So this side, It's pretty clean. Now I'm going to fight on this other side. To pull these up, there's a tool that will make it easier. I don't have one, but it basically goes underneath, and then it pushes in a clip, pulls it up or down, I forget, and then it pulls it up. However, I don't have one, so I'm going to leave those on. I'm not going to scratch it all up trying to get them off without one. And I will basically do what I've done here under there. The vacuum, use one of my wheel detail brushes, slide that down in there, loosen it up, vacuum it out. Needle nose are your friends. Stuck up underneath the wiper motor. Yeah, nasty. Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. Come on. Don't touch your face. All right, so that got pretty much all of it, except that's all the loose stuff. Mostly loose. Now it's just that stuff that's stuck on the paint area and stuff. And get it loose, I can vacuum it. It's clean. I cleaned the water out. Now what's nice about these is they bend. Oh yeah, that's way better. That really loosened it up. Now I think I can vacuum this out. At least some of it. Gotta wait for my detail vacuum to charge up, and that'll get the rest of it out. Now, I wasn't sure I was going to show you this. I told you it was like 30% full. All that was in there. All the mice nest stuff was in there under the cowl. 2 tools. This one I completely forgot about. That'll reach in there and pull out nastiness or whatever. And I got my detail vacuum so I can pick stuff up farther in. See? It works. Okay. All right. So that really cleaned it up a lot. That got it where I'm pretty happy. Between the needle nose, the vacuum, the washcloth, detail, the wheel brush. So now just going to put it back together. And obviously the 1/2 inch hardware cloth did work. Now, if I was doing it again, I'd probably still go with the 1/4 inch. But the 1/2 inch, if that's all you got, it works fine. All right, that's right. The front. Start putting the pieces back on. Up. All right, now we slide those tabs back under. Towel out of the way. hook up your windshield washer lines, and this one always gets stuck underneath because we pull it back out. There we go. Now re-slide that under. Screws back in and try to match them up. Try to match them up with the old marks. You can kind of see where the screw was. Don't over tighten them. Snug them up good. Backwards till you hear it. Thread line up and screw it in. Put the caps on. Actually, one thing I want to do before I connect the front. Alright, got a couple dryer sheets. Now, I'm a little leery of this because there is water in here. Water comes in here. But I think this should still be okay. Don't quote me on that. I'm not saying that it will guarantee work. And you don't want it, one thing, you definitely don't want it to get in. Put it back over here. Wonder. That hole here on the side, the other side is not that big of a deal because there's nothing in the way. There is a wiper blade arm, but I don't think that's too bad. This side, I don't want it to get sucked into the screen, so I kind of put it partly through this hole that's on the side, and I'm going to slide it down behind this wiring harness just to try to get it to stay there. I don't want it to pull in. Now, I don't think, if you start losing air, if you run it on fresh air, and you start losing air, check and make sure that the dryer sheet didn't get pulled in the way. I don't think it's going to do any actual damage, but be aware of it. And also, we don't want it to hold water and cause it to rust. Those are the two things that you want to be cognizant about when it comes to putting dryer sheets there. Now we take our seal, And we just push the seal back in. I think I got it in the right direction. There. Okay. The good news, it has been over a month and no sign of new mice. Maybe they'll leave the car alone. Anyway, I hope that was helpful. If so, please like, subscribe, comment, leave a tip on my coffee page. Link is in the description. And before I go, let me just encourage you to take 5 minutes each day to read your Bible, because God's Word can really change your life for the better. I personally recommend starting with the New Testament, then go on to the Old Testament, but you can start wherever you want. Just start reading. God bless.